Hello, everyone. Welcome to Little Chapel of Faith. So, I don't know if any of you noticed, there was a little bit of a name change at the end of our, well, I can't call it ministry now, so, and I will explain. But about a week or so ago, I did talk about, I was watching one of the Catholic YouTubers, and she was talking about her ministry, that she couldn't call it a ministry anymore, that it was an apostolate. And she said, she was saying, she was, kind of discussing it in brief and just saying that, that's what she had to call it. So when I heard that, I decided I better look into this and find out because, we have Little Chapel of Faith Catholic Ministries. I better find out. Again, I never want to do anything that's wrong or against the Catholic faith or don't, that against what the church or the Catholic faith might, have as a rule. And so I looked for about a week, trying to research what the difference was between ministry and apostolate. And I couldn't really find anything concrete. It was basically, it kept talking about the same, like it was saying it was kind of the same thing. And one of them was saying it's okay. You can have either one. But there was no definitive answer as to whether or not it should be a ministry or an apostolate. So I thought, well, I'm just going to ask my priest. Then I thought, well, let me try looking one more time last night. So I wanted to see if I could find a priest talking about that. And as it turned out, I did finally find, it was a interview with a priest, and I forget I did, it is on our Facebook page. Both videos, there's a part 1 and part 2, and it's also on our YouTube page as under Catholic meanings, I think, things like that. And basically, it was him, this gentleman, and a priest, and they talked about what the difference was between a ministry and an apostolate. And so I finally got my answer. So a ministry is basically something that is part of the church that you go to. Okay. So your church basically has to say, you can have this ministry. Most of the time when ministries are headed by people that have been in some like a deacon or someone that's maybe that serves on the altar, or things like that. Somebody that has some sort of has been given a title by the church. And I'm probably wording that really poorly, but basically, somebody in the church has to be in charge of your ministry, or has to give that ministry the stamp of approval that it can be a ministry. But it's an extension of your church, and it basically helps the people in your church, in your area. An apostolate, on the other hand, does not have to be part of your church. So it can be something that any of us can do. That we are Catholic. You have to be baptized and all, and I believe they said you have confirmation, whatever, and you are telling people everywhere. You're basically like an evangelical. You're spreading the word everywhere, to everyone in the world. Let's say, like our ministry, we have like 16,000 people in total. So we're reaching people, but they're people all over the world. They're not just people in my community. They're not people that are part of my church. I mean, there are people in my church that are part of our, the Facebook page. So there are, but it's reaching everybody, that you're spreading the word of the Lord, and you're basically spreading Jesus's word. You're spreading the word of the Catholic faith to everyone. So that's an apostolate. It's a Catholic apostolate. So I finally had gotten my answer, which I was very happy for. But that meant that I had to change it again because when I initially started, I just had a Little Chapel of Faith, and that was it. I could have very easy just chopped off the end of it and be done. When I added Catholic ministry, I added it because I was getting a lot more of other denominations in there, because I think maybe that was a draw because they didn't have the word Catholic in it. Though once they came onto the page, I think they would be able to see that we have saints, and I post saints all the time. And I think what happened was it drew them in, and that's where I was getting a lot of the hate comments and things like that. And so I decided that I wanted to make sure that someone knew when they looked that it was a Catholic ministry. Or at least at the time, that was my thought process. And so I made it the Little Chapel of Faith Catholic Ministry. And that was fine, so we went on, and I felt like, okay, now I've labeled our ministry as a Catholic ministry. That doesn't mean that other people can't, if you're interested and you're maybe thinking about joining the Catholic faith, that's fine. I'm not saying that. I was just drawing in a lot of hate comments and very nasty things. And so I felt like if I maybe just put Catholic ministry out there, it would not, draw that in. And that is exactly what happened. Once I put Little Chapel Faith Catholic Ministry, that all seemed to simmer down. I still get them from time to time, but I was getting them a lot every day. But now I realize that because I'm not really part of an extension of my church, and I'm not just, I'm not just, it's not just for my immediate area or my church, but in fact it's around the world, that it is a Catholic apostolate. So it is now the Little Chapel of Faith Catholic Apostolate. Like I said, I could very easily just have said, you know what, I'm just going to drop the end, just leave it back as the Little Chapel of Faith and be done. But I really want it to be known that it is a Catholic group, Catholic entity. So it will be the Little Chapel of Faith Catholic Apostolate, unless I find out otherwise. But if you watch those two videos, they're very, very interesting, and he really breaks it down. He actually uses examples, and it made it all clear to me that it needed to be a Catholic apostolate, not Catholic ministry. So that's what it is. We are spreading the word to people everywhere, all over the world, and it's not, run by the church, but I am adhering. You have to, though, adhere to the Catholic faith. You have to adhere to what are the rules of the Catholic Church. So it's not like you can go off and, no, you can't do that. You have to adhere to the rules of the Catholic Church. And then that's a must. It's just that you're just touching people everywhere. So it's basically like an evangelist, that you're spreading the word about our faith to everyone, instead of just the little space, your little confines of your church and in your vicinity. So that's why it's changed. I always want to do what's right. I'm learning as I go along. This is not something I've ever done. And if there's something that I make a mistake, then I'm going to fix it. And that's what I did. So I hope you all have a beautiful Sunday. And we will be back tomorrow with more readings. And I'll be back tonight with some more posts like I do every night. And that is it. Have a great night, everyone. God bless you all. Be well. Be kind to each other.